death is a tricky subject. I mean, it's something that should always be present. There should always be the threat that at least one player might die in a difficult encounter, but it definitely shouldn't be happening too often, unless you're some kind of psychopath, or maybe you're doing something wrong. The game that I run, my wife's character was a water genasi druid. She was enjoying the character quite a lot to begin with, but she found that she was starting to become a little bored with the personality that she'd come up with the backstory, with a lot of the abilities that she'd chosen, and she eventually decided that she wanted to try something else. So one night she came to me and she said,
"And I've decided that I want to die."
My response basically was,
Oh, I'm so glad you've made that decision.
the character death is always a memorable moment. As a player, it's kind of heartbreaking. It is a loss, you know, somebody has died that you created. As a DM, it can be a little bit tense, especially if you think you might have maybe made the encounter that's happening a little too challenging, if you didn't expect anybody to be facing death at this moment. As a storyteller, it's a great opportunity though. There's a lot that you can get from the sense of togetherness that comes with loss. And it's likely to bring the surviving players a lot closer together as they mourn their fallen friend. And it could very well start a whole new story arc in your campaign, some kind of revenge plot. So in our case, that's pretty much exactly what happened. We'd made a point that we weren't going to let the other players know that we decided to do this, so that the game felt honest, and we had just decided that at some point during the next session there was going to be a combat encounter and that her character was not going to survive. So as it happens, the players were on the trail of a local crime lord known as the Viper. And he was doing a bunch of bad stuff. He was doing murder, kidnapping, smuggling, bad man things, right? And it wasn't a huge stretch of the imagination that he was going to be making trouble with a wizard that the party had become quite friendly with, and he would be knocking him about a bit, trying to extort some money. Standard stuff. Obviously, the players come across this, and being a bunch of do-good idiot heroes, they decide to jump in and get involved. Just as I expected, because yeah, you sort of get an idea for the sort of things your players like to do in every combat encounter. First thing she does is jump straight into animal form and get involved in the melee. Great. Now, I had already decided that being a water genasi, which was quite a rarity, and being a druid who could change into animal forms at will, that he wanted to capture her. And I would have been fine with her either being killed or captured as part of this fight, because either way, she's out of the picture. Things basically go as planned. It doesn't take very long for a few of them take her down below 0 hit points, so she's knocked unconscious, and to start dragging her outside. Now, I let her keep making death saving throws, and I think it's important that I say I didn't fudge any dice rolls throughout this entire encounter. I wanted it to play out as it played out. Even though I had an idea where I wanted it to go, I wanted the game to still work as the game. I felt like if I was taking too many liberties with it, then at that point I might as well have just said that she died and not bothered with any of this. So the other party members bought it, and in fact they played exactly as I expected them to, and exactly into my hands. So essentially we ended up in a situation where he's holding her by the throat with a sword, saying, "If you come any closer, I'm gonna kill her." The players come closer, so he's left with no choice but to take his sword and plunge it straight through her. A few things that I think are important when dealing with a player death. Now, as I said, this needs to be a memorable moment, so you need to make sure that you slow down your narration. Let the players feel what's happening. Let them feel that killing blow. If possible, let the player have some last words. Let them use their character's voice for what may well be the last time. Whoever it is that deals the killing blow, make sure that they are important in some way. Give them a name at least. Some kind of descriptive feature, a scar, a particular weapon, something like that. Because it is almost certain that the very next thing your players are going to want to do once this encounter is dealt with is they are going to want revenge. So if you can have that character escape, let them escape. I think the most important thing though is that you consider the player whose character has just died. Now, even in the situation that we were in where we planned to do this, it's still a very emotional moment, and that player might well need a moment just to walk away from the table, take stock of what's happened and come back fresh. And that's fine, and you should definitely let them have that. And as soon as they're ready, let them come back into the game, and if necessary, create a friendly NPC, just a character for them to control so they can be playing. After all, you have all come together to play a game, so it's not really going to be much fun for them if their character dies and then they spend the next 2 hours waiting for an opportunity to come back in. And when you get a break between game sessions or during a session even, that can be a time that you can create a character and work out a way to get them back in the story. But as long as they're playing again as soon as possible, that's what you need. Either way, I think it's important to know that whatever happens, the death will be the focus of the session, for at least the foreseeable future. And again, that's how it was with us. As soon as she was killed, the combat encounter kind of ended. They weren't so interested in fighting, they let him and his cronies escape. And their focus was on her. They tried to bring her back to life with a potion. It didn't work. She was below the level where a potion would work. Neither of them had any kind of healing magic, so they went out in search of a temple to try and find some kind of resurrection magic, and at least at that time, there was nothing available. The rest of that session and the following session became the planning and execution of a revenge plot against the Viper, against this guy who had murdered their friend. And just so happens that along the way, they met my wife's new character, and she's been a part of the party ever since. Now obviously the revenge plot backfired horribly because this is a D&D game, and nothing ever goes to plan, but it was fun. Some people may consider this to being a form of railroading. I mean, after all, I had dictated what was going to happen. I was not going to let that encounter end without her character having been killed, or at the very least captured in a way that made her incredibly difficult to retrieve. And yeah, technically, I did railroad. I dictated what was going to happen, but because one of my players had come to me and said, I'm not having fun, I need to change my character, I want to do it this way, I kind of felt, well, actually that's the important thing. Like, this is a game, we do this to have fun. If she wasn't having fun, then my priority needs to be, how do we make sure that she is having fun again? The other thing that I ask myself is, do I feel okay with having effectively lied to some of the other players in this game? And honestly, yes, yeah, I kind of do. Because while at the time it felt maybe a little dishonest, the role-playing opportunities, the story opportunities, and the engagement with the campaign and with the setting that those players felt massively, massively benefited from this encounter. Because of this, we found a religious streak in one of the characters. We found that the other was very vindictive, and these weren't really things that we'd discussed or that had come up before, but they just came naturally through role-playing sessions because of what had occurred. If I'd told them that we were going to do this, or if we'd just swapped the characters out, either out of game or in a sort of a quick throwaway conversation, that wouldn't have felt the same. And yeah, the game would have carried on, it probably still would have been fun, but there wouldn't have been those amazing role-play moments that I got to enjoy. And that I know they love. If you pay too much attention to the man behind the curtain, it spoils the illusion, and I definitely agree with that. I think I would do it again the same way if I had to. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this gives you some ideas if this is ever something that you've had to deal with, or that you think you might have to deal with. If you're a subscriber to my channel, then welcome back. It's been a while since I put out a video. Yeah, I've been a little bit busy. I've been working a lot more, and I just haven't had the time to put a video together. I am planning to start uploading again. It won't be quite as regularly as it used to be, but I want to, keep videos coming out because I enjoy making them, and hopefully you enjoy watching them. So if you have enjoyed this video, a like is always appreciated. I always love reading your comments, and if you want to know what's coming next, then please subscribe. All I have left to say, I guess, is thank you for watching. I'll see you later.